So I've been out of the news really since the election. I kind of dumped back into school for a couple days. Been doing some physics, been doing some painting, trying to expand my brand. You know what I'm saying? And so I was actually not aware that there were protests protesting the Trump presidency. And I got to tell you, that's the dumbest shit I've ever like. If you're a Democrat or a leftist or a liberal or a progressive, and you think that Trump is to blame, and you're out protesting Trump, you're fucking stupid. Like, that's it. That's all I got to say to you. This is not, you don't blame Trump for it. He is exactly who he said he was. People came out and voted for him. And I'm not saying that, blah, because you didn't vote. No, I'm saying that you're blaming the wrong people. You're blaming the person who won when you should be blaming the person who should have won this race easily. Any other Democrat, any other person. Honestly, I really think that any other person that could have been put into the candidacy of a major party would have beaten Donald Trump. The only person on the earth, I think, that would have lost is Donald Trump, maybe Rudy Giuliani. Probably not. A lot of Republicans really like him because they don't pay attention to the fact that he just denies or helped to deny aid to the 9/11 first responders. But anyway, so, wow. I mean, like, really, guys, like, this is not the reaction. This is not it. For one, Trump hasn't done anything yet. What the fuck are you protesting? You know what you need to start doing? Organize, put together a message. Trump's already said he's going to do some things that I'm hugely in favor of, and I know that a lot of progressives are. The main thing, if he will enact term limits, when I heard him say that he would push for term limits on the House and Senate, damn, dude, that just about got him my fucking support. I mean, that's one of the things I think would go furthest between that and getting money out of politics. But honestly, I think that maybe it's possible that getting term limits is more important. I think if you get term limits, it's going to make getting money out of politics a lot easier. And you can say blah blah blah. I don't want that or whatnot. But if you complain that the politicians are controlled by the corporations, the only thing that you can do about that is make elections so that they're not. You get a set budget that's provided by the state. Once you get a petition that has X number of signatures on it, you make that number, as high as you need. You need it to be to eliminate all the wackos, and you get people that have legitimate support, and then the state provides their funding. The federal government would provide their funding, and I'll tell you how. And you're like, oh, how do we pay for that? I'll tell you what. How we pay for it is let's just one day a year, we just don't drop any fucking bombs. We just don't drop any bombs anywhere on the planet. We're like, nope, we're not dropping any bombs. We'll save those bombs, and then that'll be it. That's probably enough. It's probably enough to pay for private elections. Now, of course, I haven't done the math on that. I don't fucking know that that's true. But you see my point. So, wow. Honestly, I don't think everything's going to be as bad as I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think at worst we've got 14 months of Trump with both houses of Congress. Maybe they undo Obamacare. Is that the worst thing in the world? No. Maybe they're not going to do anything to protect the environment, but what would Hillary have done? What would she have done to protect the environment immediately in the next 14 months? Nothing. Well, there's no evidence. Did she really bring up climate change ever? No. Bernie Sanders pushed that narrative, or pushed that issue, and she, I think, brought it up once in the debate, and it didn't really get much of a response in the arena, and so she just like, okay. So, honestly, I don't think the difference is going to be that great as far as I'm concerned, I say the thing to do is organize on the issues that you believe in, Republican or Democrat. At this point, we've all got to hope that this man succeeds. Whether you like him or not, I mean, the president, our current standing president, did not come out and say, like, "Ooh, man, I don't know. I really think Trump might be a moron, so I'm not going to give him the presidency." No, he's going to be the president. I mean, barring, something happening to him, and I'm not wishing on that. Honestly, just because I'm kind of curious to see if he will try to push for term limits. I would love to see that. I would give up of course, I'm a guy I'm married and I've got kids, and I really don't have much chance or need of it, in my immediate future. I mean, I would almost give up Planned Parenthood for term limits in Congress. Even though, tax dollars don't go towards abortions. But, the Republicans are never going to believe that. And they're always going to say, oh, well, if they're using this money, we give them money for these things, and that allows them to use their other money for abortions. Right? That's not how it works. They divide it up. It's not how it works. It's been proven. But whatever. I know how you Republicans hate math and science. I'm going to talk about that. How much time do I got? I got time. So for all you people, anybody who happens to be listening, who are evolution deniers, or God forbid these, what do you call them? Young Earth people. You think the Earth is 6,000 years old? So the reason that people who have scientific backgrounds, it's not that you choose that as like your religious belief. It's not really it, in my experience, and I'll talk about, like, I'm talking about this from my point of view. So, I'm not a person who thinks that there is a God who's sitting on a throne, who's waiting up there to judge you for all the bullshit that he put you through. Like, there's so much about all this judgment and hell, and it doesn't make any fucking sense. I don't know how you wrap your head around it. I don't know how you're like, okay, so we'll make purgatory in case you haven't heard about heaven, or limbo. We'll make limbo in case you haven't heard about God. We'll make purgatory in case you've done some bad stuff and then didn't get forgiven. But I mean, I know that purgatory is not. I don't even know if it's still Catholic canon. Anyway, probably is. They're not apt to change very much. But so when I start school, right? Okay, so I start with algebra because I was 35. No. I'm sorry. I was like 32, 33, whatever. I don't know. Whenever I started school, back after getting out of the Navy, started with algebra. Okay. Because you hadn't done math in forever. So start with algebra, you see how it builds. You're like, okay, cool, algebra makes sense. And then you take trigonometry, and if you really study trigonometry, it is ridiculously amazing how well everything, like how the math of circles really can be used to define almost everything that exists. And that just, I don't know, that to me is crazy interesting. I haven't gone super in depth into the proofs and things like that in trig. I just, I took it as a summer class, was blown away by it. So, but you have your algebraic systems. They fall perfectly in line with your trigonometric systems, right? Like the algebra still works, dividing, all that. In fact, that's really all that trig is a series of addition and like set ratios, defining certain ratios. So then you do pre-calculus. Pre-calculus is really just harder algebra, because you might barely talk about limits, which is like the beginning. It's like that's what calculus is based on, is a limit. Okay, but it all still works. Okay, and so then you take your calculus, your first calculus course, and that's where math really opens up, because you're like, okay, cool, now I understand the relationships between acceleration and velocity and position and things like that. And then you take a physics course or a chemistry course, and then you see how math a lot of the principles of math directly correlate to nature, and it is like it just, I don't know, for me, like I sometimes just sit around and think about it. Like we have these mathematical systems that we've been able to use to predict planets that there's absolutely no evidence of, and then we go and we look, we're like, well, let's check it out. So we look really hard and boom, fucking planet. You know what I mean? Based on the math. It's nuts. So you begin to develop, like, as you do more and more of the math, as you work through the physics problems, you see how reliable it is. You see that it never fails. You never come to a problem where you're like, nope, doesn't fucking work. Like, doesn't work. There's always a way. There's always a way. Now, not to say that there's we can get precise answers for everything. A lot of times it's estimations or approximations. But you can get close enough for anything, for all practical purposes, in almost any case. So then you take if you take a Physics 2 class, that's where I'm in now. That's where you learn about electromagnetism and optics and how light works and how electricity is created. And it still continues. It's the same math. It's the same math. I'm sorry, this thing is telling me to do something. I don't want to wear headphones. Leave me alone. It's the same math, and it all continues to work out. Simple multiplication with division of things, you end up you can come up with functions that describe electromagnetic waves, electromagnetic forces, currents, all of that. It all still works. So for me, I'm not saying that I worship math, but math has definitely become the thing that I believe in first. Like if I can look at the math and see how the numbers were come up with, and I for the most part have the skills to do that now, then it's very difficult for me not to believe it. So whenever I can, and I know how to read data and look at charts. So I've looked at the climate change stuff. I know exactly how carbon dating works. I can tell you about the chemical reactions behind, like, what's causing the acidification of our oceans. Like, very specifically, because, I've gone to school and I've learned those things. That's why you go. That's why we pay our tax dollars to help fund community colleges, because they pass on information that has been proven to be true. So as you continue to believe these things, things that you can't prove or that are inconsistent become more and more difficult to believe. And so just because, this is what I really want to get across, just because you haven't been through the science classes and haven't been through the math classes, it's not fucking magic. Like, the real deal is, math isn't even that hard. And if you I guarantee you, I want to just do like a 2-hour math lesson. I'm pretty sure that with 2 hours, I could teach just about any adult everything they need to know to, like, get into a calculus course and be fine. So don't think that it's like, it's not magic. It's real shit that you could learn off of YouTube if you sat down with a pencil and an eraser and a calculator and watched some YouTube videos and then found some sample problems and just started working through them. And then checked your answers, check and see how it works. You just keep trying, keep practicing. It's a skill that you can build. And science is only applied mathematics. Yes, there's of course experimentation in it, but all of it always comes down to the math. So that's my rant. I know that those were two decisively different topics, but whatever. I'm saying this is my shit. I can talk about what I want. Excuse me. 40 seconds to go, 36 seconds to go, whatever. I guess I will end this with, I hope you all have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. The weather has turned, the sun is shining, and it looks to be a beautiful day. I love you all, and I hope that you will like this video, or whatever you want to call it, and subscribe to the channel, because we're going to have more coming. Not we, just me. Actually, guest appearance soon. Stand by for that. Have a great one.